you ever so much for your time this evening. So you were obviously asked to be tonight's speaker, and I was just wondering what motivated you to agree to doing such a fabulous job.
Well, it's been an amazing evening, and I have to say it was a very quick yes, because knowing Susie and knowing, women of spirit, and seeing what Susie's pulled together here. The book author and the author of The Mind Makeover is completely about empowerment. So when I get an opportunity to be able to share that message of how important our mind is, how important our thoughts are, to an audience of, I can so often say inspirational women, but these to me were women with a difference, because they were women who had a story that was tough to share. So they had a courage that said, it's easy or not, but if I share it, then I could, and I will, ripple that and help other people in that situation. And that for me is humbling. And so it was an absolute yes, it was an immediate yes. And I think that's the point. I'm often talking to audiences of very inspirational women, but these women that went through a courage to put the story out there. And I felt that speaking tonight, I got an opportunity to share some of those top tips of the book, like inner voice. What do we say when we talk to ourselves? Why is the mind the greatest asset? That would empower them on the next part of their journey. So for me, like I said, I would have walked here. It was like just an amazing opportunity.
It's very, it's one thing to, have that courage that you speak of, to write your story in a book and have your face, your image, go alongside that book. But I guess for some of our speakers that we've seen tonight, possibly the reality of what they've actually committed to has become a real live thing, where a lot of them have taken the stand and spoken on a podium about their experiences a little bit tonight as well. So from your perspective with your own book and the things that your message to women, how would you advise that if because they may be feeling a little, what's the word?
Exposed.
Yeah, they may be feeling a little exposed after the experience that they've been through this evening, hopefully more empowered, but
I think that's very real, what you've just said, very real. But it comes back to really one of the key things I shared, which is, what is our inner voice? It's really hard to beat the enemy if you've given it an office inside your head. And so I think if they're feeling a vulnerability of sharing it, then we all have to do this in our life. We have to stop and go, okay, let me flip that. It's my favourite saying this week. Let me flip that, because that's coming from a place of how I feel about that story. But if I flip it and I go back to what I said earlier, which is, not for me personally, but for the people who shared their story, I've shared a story that will empower people. I said something when I was speaking, and I saw a ripple of deep emotion go through that audience. And I said, you will never ever know whose lives you touch, because you will never know who picks up the book and reads your story and gets hope, inspiration, belief that somebody else survived something similar. And did you feel it? The room went tingly.
Yes.
The room went, whoa, that is powerful. And I'm feeling it now. And I think flip. If for any of us, if you're feeling intimidated, if you're feeling vulnerable, if you're feeling frightened, flip it. If somebody's saying, I'm frightened to do that, it might not work. Well, flip it. What if you don't do it and your life stays the same? Well, actually, that's really not okay, Sharron. Well, that's great then, which means you've got to go back and you've just got to find the courage. So I'm always saying flip. We're human. We all have those emotions that say, I feel vulnerable, I feel frightened, I don't know what the future looks like. Well, that's true. Flip it, and instead of it being a fear, let it be an unknown, that you actually don't know what it's going to look like. And cultivate, because excitement is just one down from fear. So you're in the right category, but let's just get the level. But I think that's a really astute question. And I would imagine there was so much love in that room tonight for women of spirit that I think anybody feeling vulnerability will have had so many people say, wow, you were amazing. Oh my goodness, you shared your story. Your story. And if you just listen to those voices more than you listen to that inner voice thinking, I've shared the story, I feel vulnerable. Listen to those 3 people who said you're inspirational, and it's very quick to flip. But it is with the mind makeover, the book is about a roadmap. This is how you take charge of your greatest asset. So none of us just do it. You don't just get in a car, without somebody giving you lessons. We are all shown the process in life for anything, and our mind's no different.
That's very good. Thank you ever so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and you're such an inspirational person yourself. So thank you for sharing with all of us this evening.
You're pretty gorgeous yourself.
Oh, thank you.
But you and I, aren't we blessed to have been in that room?
Oh, 100.
Amazing.